Good evening. The Ranter is back to go into yet another rambling diatribe of the news of the day. And what is the news of the day? Uh, 2 days ago, actually, as of 12:30, it's now 3 days ago and change. Donald Trump was at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and that is where he got shot at in what is pretty much considered universally as an assassination attempt. He got shot at. The Secret Service responded, killing the assailant who was doing the shooting. Donald Trump got wounded. It's some conjecture of how he got wounded, be it a bullet that actually grazed his ear, or the bullet ricocheted off a teleprompter and a shard of glass shaved his ear. But either way, he got hit by something. His ear was bleeding. I've been seeing a lot of this argument, or someone is trying to make the argument of like, he wasn't shot. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was a bullet or not. It's kit. It's there. It's the thing. Anyway, but a firefighter did get shot and killed. 2 other people got injured, including not in addition to Donald Trump. Now, last few days, I first heard about it. I heard about it at work. And then I felt god awful about it. There is a level of humanity that, when we cut through all the political bullshit and our partisanship here and there, when you come down to it, then we are actually human beings, all of us, including Donald Trump, that if you have any form of instinctive empathy, that comes out, and you don't want to see this happen. You don't want to see this level of political violence happen. Not to Donald Trump, not to Joe Biden, not to anyone. If you have that in you. Which I do. I felt like shit all day during Friday and Saturday, and I was telling people that. And, even in getting into arguments about what's going on or what was happening in that, I felt like shit, felt horrible about it. And I want to go through the levels as to why I was feeling that way. But I will do that in a moment in my opinion piece of this rant. However, what I want to do now is just read the latest information concerning the assassination attempt and who the person was that was shooting at Trump and so forth. So let me read this as kind of the official thing, and then I will go back into my scree out into the universe. So bear with me. Okay, this is from CBS News. Trump rally shooter identified as Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20-year-old Pennsylvania man. Here's what we know so far. The gunman who fired shots at former President Donald Trump is in an assassination attempt at the campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Saturday night has been identified by the FBI as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. He was killed by a Secret Service sniper, officials said. One audience member at the rally, Pennsylvania firefighter Corey Comparator, pardon me if I'm not pronouncing that right, was killed in the shooting. 2 other men are in critical condition, officials say. A spokesman for the Allegheny General Hospital said that the injured victims were stable, although still in critical condition on Sunday night. Who was the shooter? In a statement, the FBI said, the FBI has identified Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20, of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, as the subject involved in the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, and anyone with information that may assist with the investigation is encouraged to submit photos or video online at fbi.gov/Butler or call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Federal investigators said that the government was not carrying identification, so they analyzed his DNA to provide a biometric confirmation of his identity. Crooks was from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, a Pittsburgh suburb about an hour south of Butler. The town in Allegheny County is home to about 30,000 people and has one high school with about 1,300 students. He graduated from the Community College of Allegheny County in May with an associate's in science degree in engineering science, a spokesman for the college confirmed to CBS News. He was expected to enroll to Robert Morris University in the fall. A spokesman for the private university in Pittsburgh area confirmed Monday to CBS News and had not yet attended classes there. Bethel Park School District confirmed in CBS Pittsburgh station KDKA that Crooks was a 2022 graduate from Bethel Park High School. School officials pledged to work with law enforcement investigating the shooting and offer condolences to those who were affected by the attack. Former classmate Jamison Myers, a member of the school's varsity rifle team, told CBS News that Crooks had tried out for the team freshman year but did not make the junior varsity roster and did not return to try for the team in subsequent years. He called Crooks a nice kid who never talked poorly of anyone, he said. "I've never had thought him capable of anything I've seen him do in the last few days." Fellow classmate Summer Barkley told CBS Pittsburgh reporter Megan Schiller that although Crooks wasn't popular, he still had a group of friends and was a good student beloved by teachers, she said. She didn't see any red flags that would lead her to believe he would do something like this. Mark Sigelfus, hopefully I got that right, who graduated with Crooks that sat near him in class, told CBS News that while it was possible Crooks was bullied in school, he never personally saw it happen. Sigelfus described him as a smart, friendly, and frequently engaged during class. Definitely nerdy for sure, but said he never gave off that he was creepy or like a school shooter. He seemed like he wouldn't hurt a fly, he said. Another classmate, Jason Collier, had a somewhat different view, telling Schiller that Crooks was a loner who was bullied relentlessly for his appearance and wore camo/hunting outfits in class. He said Crooks would often sit in the cafeteria alone before class. He also said Crooks was very COVID conscious and wore surgical masks long after they were required. Crooks also worked in Bethel Park Skilled Nursing and Rehabilitative Center as a dietary aide. According to the facility administrators, the University of Pittsburgh confirmed Monday that Crooks had been admitted for the fall semester to study mechanical engineering, but according to the statement from the school, he informed the university in March that he had decided not to attend. "We can't confirm that Mr. Crooks was a member of the Claretons Sportsman Club. Beyond that, the club is unable to make any additional commentary in the relation to this matter in light of the pending law enforcement investigations," Soletto said in a statement. Obviously, the club fully admonishes the senseless act of violence that occurred yesterday. The law enforcement source noted at the time of the shooting, the gunman was wearing a shirt that apparently read Demolition Ranch, a popular gun-related YouTube channel with over 11 million subscribers. What was his motive? Federal authorities on Monday were still investigating what may have prompted the gunman to carry out the shooting. So far, they say it appears he acted alone. The FBI, in investigating whether the shooter was motivated by a violent extremist ideology or any associated with additional plotters or core conspirators, according to an FBI and Department of Homeland Security bulletin sent to law enforcement Monday and obtained by CBS News. "We do not currently have an identified motive," said Kevin Rojek, the FBI Pittsburgh special agent in charge, at a briefing late Saturday, and President Biden said the shooter's motives were still unclear in an address from the Oval Office on the following night. "There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or any violence, ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to become normalized," Mr. Biden said. "Political rhetoric in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that." The law enforcement official said early Sunday that there was no foreign terrorism ties known at this time, and the suspect was not on the radar of law enforcement, although they are still running his name down. There was also no indication that Crooks ever had a connection to any military branch, officials confirmed to CBS News. Crook's political leanings were not immediately clear. Record shows that he was registered as a Republican voter in Pennsylvania, but the Federal Election Commission information shows he was previously made a $15 donation to a democratically aligned group. A law enforcement official said early Sunday that the Secret Service and FBI are investigating suspect's background and speaking with his family. The FBI had secured his home, and federal law enforcement is searching the family's residence in the suburban Pittsburgh, law enforcement officials said. An FBI official said that the family of the shooter is cooperating with investigators. The FBI officials told reporters during a press conference Sunday afternoon that determining the motive is the primary objective to the agency's investigation, but no ideology has been identified as a motive so far. Officials have also said there is no indication of Crooks having mental health issues. Crooks did have a social media presence. The FBI officials said Sunday agents are combing through his posts and emails, but have found nothing so far that reveals a motive or anything threatening. In a Monday statement, FBI confirmed that they was able to access the shooter's phone and continue to analyze his electronic devices. Sources told CBS News on Monday afternoon the phone has thus far not yielded any information about his beliefs or a potential motive. Meanwhile, the public has submitted over 2,000 tips to the FBI for examination. What was the weapon he had? The gunman was armed with a semi-automatic AR-style rifle, multiple law enforcement sources say. He had purchased a box of ammunition with 50 rounds on the day of the shooting, a law enforcement source confirmed to CBS News on Monday. During the investigation, authorities found 3 suspected improvised explosive devices, according to the FBI and DHS bulletin. 2 were found in the shooter's car, another was found at his residence. Law enforcement sources told CBS News the gun was legally purchased in 2013 and was registered to the shooter's father, Matthew Crooks. A law enforcement source confirmed Sunday that suspicious devices were found in the gunman's vehicle. CBS News has learned that the shooter had a device in his possession that appeared to be capable of triggering those suspicious devices. The bomb technicians called to the scene were involved in securing and investigating devices. What protections were there for Trump? Trump said in a social media post that a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear. He was checked at a local hospital before leaving the area under Secret Service protection and flying to New Jersey late Saturday night. Trump's Secret Service detail was given additional assets that were part of the protocol for a presumption nominee due to the heavy campaigning, which include additional manpower, counter-sniper, drones, and robotic dogs. A law enforcement official says on Saturday there were 4 counter-sniper teams on site, the official said. Additionally, Trump's teleprompter is proactive and a flag and podium banners are made of steel, the law enforcement official says. In a statement Sunday morning, U.S. Secret Service spokesman Anthony, forgive me for this, Galilimi, sorry guys, said that the agency recently added protective resources and capabilities for the former President Trump's security detail, and said any suggestion that they had rebuffed a request for more security is absolutely false. To emphasize that, and I'll give you a reason in a moment. The U.S. Secret Service takes threats seriously, and it takes action based on those threats as warranted. The U.S. Secret Service is constantly evaluating the very dynamic threat environment and responding to it in fulfilling of its responsibilities. What did the witnesses see? One man who was at the rally said as soon as Trump started speaking, he saw a man bear crawling up the building. We were pointing at the guy, said the witness named Greg. He had a rifle. You could literally see him with a rifle. He told the BBC that he and others told the police that they were pointing out to the U.S. Secret Service agents. He estimated the man was on the roof for 3 to 4 minutes before shots were heard. Other witnesses told CBS Pittsburgh station KDKA that they also saw the gunman and tried to alert officers before the shooting. The sheriff of Butler County told the CBS News Pittsburgh that a local police officer was hoisted up onto the roof by another officer to check the premises after receiving the bystander reports. The officer saw the shooter, who pointed the rifle at him. The officer then let him go and fell off from the roof, the sheriff says. At that point, the gunman turned his face faced the rally and fired between 6 to 8 rounds in the direction. Okay. Alright. With me and other people that do this, people far more professional than I am, I might add, we always have to emphasize upon the stance of political violence. It shouldn't really need to be explained that how political violence should be opposed at all costs, and that no matter how critical I am of Donald Trump and what I think of him, I would not ever condone nor applaud anyone doing anything to physically hurt him or his family. That is asinine bullshit to do that to him or to his family. In the last day or so, we have been seeing the inundation of, obviously, the internet working its magic, and the disinformation and fragrant bullshit that people throw out there, like claiming or blaming Democrats or Joe Biden on this directly, as if he was directly doing this. I don't really want to get into the ideology of Thomas Crooks, or I'll call him Tommy Boy. I don't know if that is even relevant, and as far as we can see, he is not someone who is flaming left or flaming right, as so far as we've been determined in the investigations. His motivations are still unclear. People have been running, having this back and forth concerning his political stances. How someone first brought up how his family donated to Biden when Biden won the presidency, and pointed to that as some sort of indicator, and says, okay, fine, his family donated to Biden when he was 16. Then this other donation came up to Act Blue. I think it was that $15 one when he was 17. Someone made a claim that he had recently did a donation to a Democratic group. However, that is being disputed because people are claiming that someone of the same name in Pennsylvania, an elderly gentleman from in a retirement home, was the one that actually did it. But that is not even confirmable. So that's just up in the air in the theory realm, okay? He registered as a Republican. He voted at 18 in 2022 in the midterms. The Demolition Shirt is obviously a pro-gun organization that is a YouTube group that has its own swag, apparently. But here's my thing about this, because people want to go to town on the left or the right of that. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to say, because of that, because he voted once, and he's a registered Republican, then he's like a flaming MAGA, gun nut, whatever. I mean, he's being part of a Second Amendment group, or buying one of their shirts, and having a history of trying to join the gun club. I mean, it would be one thing if there was evidence that was being presented that this guy was a gun nut, that he was an advocate, he was loud about it. All the usual suspect things that people are checking for red flags here. The stereotypes. That this guy is just a massive gun nut and MAGA and this and that. That's not being presented here. And it's conflicting stories from his classmates. And it's not something as I'm finding anything nefarious of what they're saying here, because people know people differently, even in school. I mean, I could count the actual true friends I had on my hand, but people knew me, and they can assume all they want from me. But I would take the word of those who know me better than those who don't know me as well and just saw me in the hallway. Yeah. But since there is no motivational reason. There is no manifesto he left. There is no confession he left. They have access to his phone. They have access to his social media footprint. Has access to his family. Has access to his friends, who apparently he had friends. So despite the one guy saying he's a loner, other people say that he actually has friends. So again, there's a little conflict of information here. We all want to know what was going on in this guy's mind. He was 20 years old. I don't know about you, but I wasn't all that politically devoted at age 20. I'm coming from a family that's politically minded. I voted as soon as I turned 18. My first vote was in the 96 election for Bill Clinton. But I had other things going on in my life. You know, school was going on. My girlfriend Cheryl at the time, and so forth. That, you know, other things get involved in the mind. You know, sometimes I miss those days because maybe I wouldn't spend my life so devoted to politics and, you know, hanging on every little moment of breaking news as if that mattered, while people who are not paying attention and who are casual about politics and just enjoys a beautiful day and a beautiful life. But we're in a weird culture for that, but be that as it may. So his motivations is a curiosity, and is something that we really should find out what happened with him. But beyond that, I do not want to give him more airtime than really is necessary for him being a gunman that wounded a presidential candidate, a former president, Donald Trump, killed a firefighter in the stands, and injured 2 other people. I'm not up in trying to garner any sympathy and going, "Oh, poor boy," for what he did. The only caveat is that though I've heard this when I was researching, going through articles and so forth, when I was about to think of doing this tonight. One stray article, I think it was from NBC or so, where they were talking about, you know, possible motivations, and it went along the lines of him being a loner, or that was being constantly bullied, either for the clothes that he wore, or for his parents, or his political leanings. I mean, he had you know, Trump signs for the upcoming election from this house. You know, any Republican will have a Trump sign if Trump is obviously the nominee and they're supporting the Republicans. So that happens. So that's not flaming for me. But the theory from that angle was that what he was trying to do was suicide by cop. That he wanted to die. But he didn't want to die alone. He wanted his death to matter. So that's what he did. I wonder if when he got his own shot, how long he lived before he died. If this is the motivation, ultimately, of what he had, which, from all the other accounts of this person, that doesn't seem to really jive. If you go by the testimonies of his classmates or his family or so forth, but we don't have any indications otherwise. We don't have anything there. If you try to go by from an ideological point of view of politics, he has no reason. Just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you're a MAGA Republican. That's a whole different breed. And if you're a MAGA Republican, why would you aim your gun to fire at the nominee, the person that you are supporting? That doesn't make sense. And he doesn't show, outside of the donations that he did for the Democrat thing before he turned 18, before he registered as a Republican and voted as a Republican, $15 versus an actual vote, the vote is more the vote is more valuable than $15. Sorry. But because of there being no real motivation in terms of politics, his politics doesn't matter at the moment. And people are arguing about this back and forth, whether he was a Democrat or a Republican. Does it really matter? What if it was a suicide by cop scenario, what if he was just firing? He was aiming, but he was from his rooftop position, from the aerial map that they showed at the place, it was 148 feet from there to the stage. He had a higher elevation angle. And he did hit him. If he didn't hit him solid, he did hit something to ricochet that hit him. Last few days, I was really, as I said, I was going through a lot of emotions, and I was trying to figure this out in my own mind. And the one thing that was bothering me, just as a layman, you have to remember, if this is from all opinion, this is opinion and theory craft. This is nothing factual from this point on. This is just from what I'm thinking, and what the hell do I know, as opposed to professionals, right? But I was thinking this, so I'm going to just bring this out into the void. I did last night. I did a little minor video, previewing this on my political group, where I discussed, what can you do in 180 seconds, 3 minutes, and I put my phone up and I timed out 3 minutes. I tapped it, and then I went on to a rambling spree of just like this one-sided conversation that I was doing solidly for 3 minutes. And in that 180 second time span till the phone did the alarm that the stopwatch was done, 3 minutes was done. Then I explained why I was doing that is because that was 180 seconds that, from what we understand, the sharpshooters had a bead on him for 3 minutes before he fired. Why? Now, there has been explanations has been set up that I totally say that would be valid, and I will go with. But these explanations are coming from different sources. But a lot of them that I will trust is from Secret Service agents who put in their 2 cents in this. As a layman, I want to understand why it takes 3 minutes that the sharpshooters are lining their shot. Seeing this guy come on the roof, seeing him fiddle with his rifle, getting set up, seeing him challenge a cop, and the cop backing down, and then firing. How in that 3 minutes there was nothing on the stage? There was nothing going on. Holy shit, he's got a gun! He's got a fucking gun! Get him out! Get him out now! Not even shooting the guy yet, but just getting Trump out. What was that? Now, some of the explanations are saying because there's the presidential details of this type has 3 rings of defense. Outer ring checks out the vast distance around an event. Middle ring, which sometimes has been lent over in this particular condition, this particular situation, the majority of the people was local law enforcement that was watching the crowd. And the tighter ring is those who were actually around Trump. And the middle ring was supposed to be the people that would have not only see the crowd, but have that surveillance of 148 feet to the actual only building in the area. The roofs of these buildings was their mandate. I, as a layman, of course, again, my opinion, not fact, but my opinion, with no qualifications whatsoever, is that at the latest, with the knowledge that there was an unidentified person with a gun on a rooftop with a line of sight to the former president, to President Trump, no later than 2 minutes before the shot rang out, they should have grabbed him and bodied him off of the stage and walked him out without him saying wait. Get him off the stage, get him out of the view, get him away, get him to the car, and drive away. That didn't happen. Trump got hit before anyone jumped up to body him. I was pissed seeing the video of that. I was so pissed and of what they were doing. And you saw it when I was reading from the CBS News article that they were claiming that they were asking for resources or additional security and they were being denied. Well, Secret Service themselves flat out says that that's false, that they gave him additional security for this heavy campaign time frame. So, and if the source is to the contrary, is an anonymous source that's going into a conservative talking head who decides to spread it out there in Twitterverse, no, sorry, I'm going to take the actual word of the actual people as opposed to who you are going to be listening to because he's ideologically aligned to you and it fits with your narratives. If there was be a reasonable person, if there was a situation where, yes, they asked for it and it wasn't coming to them, and Mayorkas or Biden, personally himself for some nebulous reason was denying this, there would be evidence. There would be a paper trail. There would be an email thread of evidence. There would be people that would be going to the news media before the event happened. When this highly toxic, highly volatile political period we are having in this country in this particular year, this particular era of our generation of politics, we should be hearing them screaming about this up to the point of this event. But we did not. We heard about it after the fact. And then that is being denied. Now, so yeah, I'm not all that happy with the Secret Service and what they were doing. Much less when they were getting him up and he told them to wait so he could do his pose and fist bump and all that bullshit. If you live through, people older than me who lived through the Kennedy assassination, people who are my age who, I was single digits when Reagan got shot. If there was a threat to a president, they body the president, they get him out as fast as possible in a manner where they says, we will say sorry later, we are getting you out. There is no wait. There's no exposing of his head for him to do a pose. There is get your principal off the stage, out of the location, into the car, and gone. That, whatever that was completely unacceptable. People are taking this information, or taking what they see, and some disinformation and misinformation is sprinkled along with this, and saying that this could be like, a false flag, or it was planned, or staged, or this or that. I am not prepared to say any of that. You have to have goddamn evidence to prove that, and just because he might have got shot in the ear, or he might have not got shot in the ear, or all the other stuff, that is conjecture, that at this point is laughable. That is not hardcore evidence. And the reason why I say that is the firefighter hero got killed. People got injured. Shooter is killed. Now, I'm leaving Trump out that, if this was possibly a stage event, Trump looked at his ear, went down, then they bodied him, then, like in old wrestling, if you're anyone's a wrestling fan, blade the ear or something, but that's not the case here. That's not the case. Someone died. So if this was staged in any way, shape, or form, you better have goddamn evidence. And if that evidence is mete out by one way or another, then hell has to pay. So, like a lot of people, especially on the left, that we all just felt shitty about this being happening. And in a pragmatic political sense, because, this is a shoo-in, Donald Trump's going to be president now, just hand him the keys, that's it. Why even have an election? And people touting how he was so manly and macho as he was surrounded by security and putting his hand in defiance. And the thing is that as that arrogant nonsense is, I'm still more pissed at the Secret Service in allowing him to do that and allowing him to expose his head. Because how do they know that there wasn't a second shooter at the time? How do they know? How do they know the threat was gone? They got one shooter. I thought there would be standing operating procedure, once again, to body the president off and out. To the point where if he tried to resist, you break a rib if necessary, you bruise him if necessary, but you get him out. He leaves. So the behavior of the Secret Service is weird. We will leave it off as weird. But I felt bad about the political landscape of this, with everything that was happening, from the debate, from the Supreme Court, from Biden's mixed bag of rallies and interviews that he was having, that some were positive, a lot of it was negative, and it wasn't helping his cause for people to feel comfortable and confident with him. Democrats apparently, of course this is coming from the media, the Democrats are now kind of quietly clamping down of no longer trying to kick Biden off, because what's the point? Trump is going to win anyway. So I was feeling all this too. I was feeling this, depression, funk, anguish over what happened to Trump, because again, human empathy does prevail at times, even if you don't want it to. Given how I have expressed myself and how I feel about Trump. Don't want to see the man get hurt. I don't want to see his family get hurt. Jesus Christ. And then I saw something today. A video from the man that actually inspires me to do YouTube videos. From the liberal side, I have two sources. I have two people I look to that are my inspiration as to why I do this. Vin, from Vin and Sori, from the YouTube video, and from Middle America. Me and him argue all the time, and we can really get vicious with each other. However, he inspired me to do that. He told me to do that, to get on here and do this. He backed me up, even if he disagreed with me. He backed me up, and I was always going to be grateful to Vin for that. That's why I shout his name out by name. And you all should check out Middle America on Facebook. You should all check it out, Middle America with Vin and Story on YouTube. Not only do political videos as this, the majority of the times they do, which is awesome, is their musical commentary, where they review music and they break it down. Him and his wife breaks it down, and I love the pairing of them, how they break it down, because from my view, from the first video I saw them doing it, Vin is analytical. He will break down the meaning of the words of in the lyrics and the music, and it's just building blocks for him. And then Sori his wife. She feels it. The one time that I got hooked on watching their videos and getting to know them and so forth is when they were doing Disturbed's version of Sound of Silence, and he's concentrating on the words, and she's feeling it. That is honest human emotion between the two of them, and that is so. That's candle in the flame for me. That's candle in a moth. So yeah, that's inspiration. That the close quarter inspiration for me to do this. I always be grateful to Vin for that. My other inspiration, however, is the one that got me into doing this now, and the reasons why I'm doing this is a YouTuber named Steve Shives, who is a firebrand liberal, who is not shy about expressing his opinion. He does political videos, which are all pretty awesome. He does a great series where he talks about, if the Republicans said the quiet part out loud of certain things. The latest one he did was about Project 2025. But he did a video tonight upon the assassination attempt, and it woke me up. It kicked my ass out of my funk. I would suggest I'm gonna put the links not only to Vin and Sori's YouTube credentials and the Facebook, but I'm also put up Steve Shives because I'm definitely giving a shout out to him. In his long video concerning the shooting, Steve Shives said something that snapped in my head, that reminded me. And I'm going to paraphrase the quote because I don't want to say quote and it might not be, all that accurate. But he said, "We win when we show up. They win when we don't show up." And why that hits me, that hits me so perfectly, is first of all, he's right. By any metric, the majority of this country, the majority populist opinions on various of the major issues leans to the progressive, leans liberal by majorities. He broke down the percentage of votes, the percentage of voter turnout from the 2016 election, 2018 midterms, 2020 election, 2022 midterms. And he showed you where the turnout was 60 or so percent plus for the 2020, and Biden won from that. The midterms in 2022 was 46%, but it still was relatively good, and which is why the red wave was just a little trickle on our ankles. The point is that the majority of the people, if majority progressive people, liberals, got off their ass, didn't feel depressed, didn't feel downtrodden, didn't feel like it didn't matter. If we all got up and voted in our primaries in our general elections, we would win. By the numbers, we would win. And I was reminded of that. And I was reminded from that and from his video that what Donald Trump was prior to the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, he is still today. He's an unqualified, disqualified piece of shit. I don't think that I need to reemphasize how I said, once again, he shouldn't be hurt, neither him, nor his family. And one of the reasons why I think that is history. Ask the Roman senators who assassinated Julius Caesar how well that worked out for them. Ask Brutus and Cassius when they're trying to prevent the empire from destroying the Roman Republic and turning it into empire by eliminating the one person that was trying to push for his emperorship on the Ides of March. how that turned out for them. How any assassination attempt, successful or not, do affect the opinion polls of the particular victim in mind. And for outside the basic historical facts that we can go back every incident of that happening, one of the basic things that you have to remember as human beings is that you don't prove someone is wrong by killing them. If two people are having an argument, or a bully gets into a conversation and he's wrong about something, but he beats the shit out of the person that disagrees with him, just because he beat the shit out of the guy doesn't make him right. He just beat him into silence. Take any major conflict in our politics, go back to the Civil War, for God's sake. It wasn't a matter that the Union won to prove that slavery was wrong. Slavery was wrong. But the failure of both sides in ironing that out, of that basic human understanding that it was wrong. It was a breakdown that the Civil War happened. It wasn't a grand, glorious thing. 600,000 plus people died in the Civil War. That was 2% of the population. That is over 500,000 people in the span of the Civil War. That's a failure. That doesn't prove someone was right or wrong. Political violence weakens the person that is inflicting it. It weakens the argument that is inflicting it. That is one of the myriad of reasons why I was upset and pissed off over what happened. And given the fact that Tommy Boy isn't even a liberal. We don't even know what he is. Conservative, liberal. His politics isn't evident beyond the voting record. So that motivational, that thing that we could go, that we can check off the red flags, it's not there. So we can't do anything with that. Donald Trump is fundraising off of his near-death experience. People are making shirts and selling it for his near-death experience. His party is blaming Democrats and the rhetoric, of the toxic rhetoric of Democrats, of what people call him. Soon to be authoritarian. Soon to be a fascist. Oh, well, that must have motivated the shooter, which we have no evidence of. But that must have motivated, that must lead to it. And you know what? Maybe that's true, because that is one half of that dance, because the other side of that dance also is responsible for that. And I know suddenly certain videos off of like X and that seem to be disappearing, like certain tweets that was made as disappearing, how people do keep receipts and they kept things saved so people can still see it. Can be reminded how the right was laughing, how Trump and his son was laughing when Paul Pelosi got attacked and nearly killed with an assailant with a hammer. They're making assertions that it was some sort of, gay lovers' quarrel. They were laughing at it. But no, don't you dare make a joke or anything about what happened to Donald Trump. No. See, that goes over the line. That goes over a line. Paul Pelosi, oh, that's fine. He's the dent it in. That's fine. That's funny. So don't talk to me upon one side is more politically violent and just their rhetoric is just causing this. Both sides is this fucking political partisan tribalism bullshit. Now, Biden was very immediate in his response to the assassination attempt. He said everything right. He came out again and said what he said upon calming down the political temperature. Trump said 2 words about unity and then get right into his own bullshit about it. About all the things that are happening to him all needs to stop. All the court cases need to stop. The hush money conviction needs to be overturned. Everything. No. And that rhetoric gets worse by the sycophantic gerbils around Trump, by his newly minted Vice President J.D. Vance, who blamed Biden for the attack. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, also blames Biden for an attack. This was a directed attack that the Democrats, the party of pedophiles. I could tell you a little story upon someone's sworn testimony of what Trump did to a 12-year-old fucking girl, but let's not go into that, right? Right? You all just like to have the little conversations about Joe Biden being creepy and sniffing hair and this or that, or the accounts of one person or another, while there was sworn testimony in a court case upon what Donald Trump did. Now, those court cases was reversed, and they pulled off their claim, but she took it away, and then she reapplied and then took it away because her family was threatened. But these fuckers who want to blame Biden, yeah. Is this the civility? Is this the calming down? Is this the calming down of temperatures of our political strife here? Because I don't think it is. How is it that they would be okay? It's okay for them to take their pot shots, to fan the flames, and it's not okay for the other side. It goes too far to say Donald Trump is going to be a mad king with absolute immunity over official acts and what he could do with those official acts. That's fine. Don't question that. He nearly got assassinated. We need to stop all this. You all need to stop your rhetoric. Really? You all didn't stop when Paul Pelosi got hammered to the head. I can go through the laundry list of various peoples who were inspired by Trump to commit what you consider political violence, or just feign out fucking violence, just was inspired by his words. Well, but the one that I don't know if I want to get into this just yet, but I am going to get into it. But I just want to collect my mind, collect my thoughts on this a little bit more, because this is going to be a long one, because there's so much to say, He is no different than he was before he took that stage in Butler. People are touting him for being so manly and macho upon him, fist pumping, defiant. Yeah, he's defiant when he's surrounded by Secret Service. Wow. Secret Service, who are apparently not doing their jobs because they need to get him off the stage instead of actually listening to him say wait. They're not there to listen to him say wait, to tell them to stop or pause. They're supposed to get his head down, surround him, and rock him out. But no. We have to wait. So we can have a t-shirt. Have a photo shoot. No. From Steve Shive's video, I am no longer in a depressive funk. I am no longer clutching my pearls as to the political prospects, or the worry upon the Democrats and what Joe Biden's going to do and so forth, and it's all over. It's fucking July. Nothing is over. If you think it is over now, you're doing so because then it's no point for you to vote. And if you think it's no point for you to vote, then yeah, Trump will win. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Good job. If you have a problem with Donald Trump becoming president of the United States again, if you have a problem with what he wants to do, a number of his campaign promises is that, day one he was going to do another mass deportation, but he was going to throw them all into camps. Let's go to camp. Yay, where did we hear that before? Where he was going to pardon all the people responsible for January 6th. And now in his recent tirade after the shootings, we called Jan 6 a hoax. Some of y'all thought it was a deal breaker what he did at January 6th, but then all of a sudden you see that big manly old defiance is all of a sudden you don't know anymore, right? He gave aid and shelter to a riot that was to stop the peaceful transfer of power on January 6th, and you down deep knew that was beyond the pale, that he refused to call the National Guard, that he purposely refused to call the National Guard, that he did not do anything except watch TV as they were fighting for him, as he told Kevin McCarthy that they were fighting for him more than he was, and that they left when he told them to leave. But rah, rah, rah. Fight. That was very impressive. Visuals are very impressive. You know, I always give credit to Donald Trump to being the master savant of understanding the concept of perception as reality. So somehow this picture of him that was perfectly made, a perfect picture that was made at the moment, as if they were prepared. That just what throws away everything else we knew about Donald Trump before then? It throws away the prospects of what he's going to do in the future? What he can do now as an official act without ever having to worry upon the consequences, because there will be none. Once again, Donald Trump gets saved from consequences. As it got saved from consequences in the classified documents case, as Judge Cannon listened to the clarion call of Clarence Thomas on the immunity decision, that he said, oh, by the way, that special prosecutor thing, Jack Smith, he's illegitimate. You might as well take that for what you will, Judge Cannon. And she did. So Donald Trump gets saved again in the courts. It is funny that no one is ever saying that he should just be found innocent. No one has the confidence of saying he will be found innocent, that he's an innocent man, that these things didn't happen. Maybe because they know he isn't innocent. So they are saving him. It reminds me once again how people never want him to be on stand to testify, because that is a perjury trap. We have heard that for years. So yeah, they have to save him from the judgment, save him from any form of consequences. If you have a problem with any of this, with him and Donald Trump becoming president, then don't sit at home on election day. Vote. And when we go through the Democratic convention, and if Joe Biden is still standing as your presidential nominee for the Democrats, vote for him. If you don't want the Mad King with the absolute immunity, vote for him. I don't care if he's a head in a jar. Vote for him. We all had problems with Biden's age in 2020. I sure as hell did. I made sure of it to mention it in my videos. You can look back at them. So I don't want to hear anyone claiming that I have some sort of preference for Joe fucking Biden. I didn't even vote for him in this primary. And yet I am still, you know what? After the Mad King, oh yeah, if he's a head in a jar, I'm still going to vote for him. Even if his decline is to the point where he can no longer function. One of the things that we did talk about in 2020, that we hope to God that there was many good people around him. which would be the same thing if people should be worrying about Trump at his age. Because he is as gaff, he hasn't declined as Biden is. We actually see more evidence of it. It's just that Biden looks more like a decrepit old man than Trump. Trump is energetic. I liken their decline as Donald Trump is the one that is yelling at a cloud, and Joe Biden is the one that's whispering at the wind. But if you have a problem with President Trump becoming president yet again, because, like it or not, I, as a critic of Trump, who calls him unqualified and disqualified, if he becomes president, he will become my president. He will be the president of the United States. I will not deny that. I will not be happy. I will continue to fight and point out to those people who are so gleeful about it. But he will be president of the United States. And he is more than likely right now to be able to win. With everything that we know about him. People will vote for him, or they will vote third party. Ironically, I guess. I will just sit back. In that sense, I will sit back quietly, and I will say, just wait. Just wait will happen. And if anybody who voted third party, or anyone who didn't want to vote for Joe Biden for any particular reason, but didn't like Trump, but they just couldn't bring themselves, because you to vote for Joe Biden, you. And something that Trump does in his presidency you don't agree with, then I'm going to speak to you about that. Because here's the thing. Donald Trump wins, and again, more than likely, he's going to win. If he wins, I am not going to have an issue with a Trump supporter. There's people in my social group that I admin in that are very Trump friendly. They are a MAGA supporter. Excuse me. That I disagree with, and we go back and forth in silly conversations, right? I'm not going to blame them. They come with their Trump support honestly. I'll congratulate them. Their side will win. Yay. It's those people who, Trump is going to be this horrible thing, and yet, so Joe Biden is so old. He can't possibly survive it, so I can't possibly vote for him. If Joe Biden loses in the margins because of third-party candidacy votes, like Jill Stein did to Hillary, that will be reasons. That is when you ever have a problem with what Donald Trump does. Shh. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. People who are hardcore Trump supporters, not going to have a problem with that. I'll hear the ironic, what is this world is happening? Oh my God, this is terrible. This is awful. He says, yeah, well, you voted for it. You may, even if you don't vote for it directly, you vote little side, Jill Stein, Cornel West. In this day and age, with everything that is at stake, and again, I didn't want to be one of those people that says the existential threat to democracy, and I thought that was all melodramatic bullshit. That changed after the Supreme Court hearing. Now it's a little less melodramatic now, isn't it? If you have a problem with Donald Trump becoming president, with everything that I have laid out as what is the potential things that could happen, that what he will be able to enjoy in terms of his official acts, that is completely un-American, and it returns us to 249 years prior when we had a king and we were colonists. If you have a problem with that, then you vote for whoever's the strongest Democratic nominee. And most unlikely, unless something happens, that will be Joe Biden. I don't want it to be Joe Biden. I want him to realize his age and gracefully step aside and release his delegates so that someone younger and stronger can be risen up. But if it's Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden. Lastly, I need to express this as someone who's honest, or tries to be honest, or play someone honest on TV. The one thing that I had the big problem with the propaganda after the assassination attempt that Trump is pulling, and his people are pulling, is that God saved him. God saved Trump. God curved the bullet so it only hit his ear. It's an interesting concept because, in all intents and purposes, Tommy Boy, if he was just a little to the left, a little to the right, the results could be different. 148 feet from his angle is not a long distance for an AR-15, even if he doesn't have a scope. It's I looked up the range of an AR-15. 148 feet is nothing. It still will fire accurately when you wanted to fire it. So it was so I have a conversation with somebody, and we had a conversation about God saved Trump. He totally did. He totally did. God saved Trump. And the firefighter got killed. And when I bring that up, it says, oh, well, he puts his life on the line. He signed up for that. He signed up for that sitting in the stands. That's an acceptable risk for a firefighter, to be sitting there as a supporter at a political rally. Oh, well, he signed up. He knew the risks. Really? No. But let us go a little bit further. Let's go a little bit further then. Let's set aside the firemen. We really shouldn't. But for the sake of argument, in the sake of God save Trump, let's go a little further. God save Trump. Curve the bullet. But God couldn't possibly have curved all those bullets to save the children and the school staff of the Covenant School, the Christian school, right? Or the Parkland students? Or Sandy Hook? God saved Trump. But doesn't save a firefighter. Doesn't save children in a school shooting. Really? Why? Now, follow this thinking to its logical conclusion then, because if Trump is such a God-anointed person now, saved by God, so I guess you'll have to support him if you were a believer in God now, shouldn't you? So anything that Trump does as president will be tantamount to what God wanted him to do, because he saved him, right? Even if it's horrible. Now, I am an agnostic person. I am not an atheist. I am just someone that questions one way or the other. In terms of God, I would think that God would have a little bit more discerning upon where he would allow his miracles to save someone. And for those who believe that, as we Southerners would call, bless your heart. The ranter rants because the urge to rant is always rising. And I'm done. I'm done being in a funk. I'm done pearl clutching. I am done with all of this in worrying about what happened in an assassination attempt, and to I remember that that person is no different than he was when he stepped onto the stage, waddled onto the stage in Butler. We still got a job to do in November for those who do not want that to return to the White House.